Hey guys, Dark Prometheus here, back with some more. This one being our Wrexham end of season wrap up, some thoughts, kind of organize the depth chart, things like that, what we're going to be going in next year. Not a lot of changes, I'm thinking. So it kind of allows us to upgrade where we want if we see someone. So without further ado, let's get right into this one, the end of season review. So for the 2032-2033 season. Eventually it'll go to the next screen. There it goes. So transfers in. I like the fact that we had Rafael Leao coming on loan from Milan. He had 18 goals for us with 6 assists. We're going to see if we can obviously retain him. He still has that speed even if it goes down to like 14. I mean he's a key player. We could use him on the left side, and that actually gives us an idea of maybe one of our guys up top is sold for someone better, younger. We'll kind of see. We also have the opportunity to get Endrick, so there's that. I think it's a regen of Endrick though, which is kind of, maybe it is Endrick. I have no idea. It's kind of weird. We brought in Ender Silent. He came in from Newcastle for about 40 million. Well, for 40 million, had 20 goals, 15 assists. He was the guy up top for a while before we loaned in Rafael Leao in the winter. And well, the board believes he's the best signing we've had this season, and I would tend to agree. At 23 years old, he's going to see his some Champions League football here. I don't think he saw it. I don't think Sporting CP had that. Maybe he saw maybe a couple games with Newcastle, so it's his first foray probably in the Champions League football. Alexis McAllister, I mean, this was a panic loan that we needed a midfielder, so we just essentially got one. We're not going to be retaining him. Jimmy Rollins from Everton for 15 million. I mean, well, the board doesn't like it because his salary is too high. We brought him in as a backup essentially, so sometimes that happens. From Shakhtar, we brought in Arda Güler for 36 million. Board likes it. He had 6 goals, 8 assists. We brought him in as a midfield guy. We brought in Brendan Johnson from Arsenal on loan. They do like how the transfer fee, it's all optional, things like that. We're not going to pull him in. We'll see what Arsenal ends up doing with him. It's possible he gets cut and we pick him up that way. Leo Reynolds comes in from Arsenal, so this was a decent backup. We'll see how he does. We'll likely sell him this season for 10 million would be good for him. Mateo Gabbia, this is another panic. The board races average. Yeah, I would say we needed a defender. We're having some injuries, and Mateo Gabbia kind of fit that bill. Giovanelli, we brought him in from Inter on loan, and we are going to actually sign him on a free. And we'll see. He's just going to be a backup guy that can play up top. He's tall, so we needed someone to kind of be a backup. Rekker Quilia comes in from Arsenal. This was just, we needed something here, and this was another free transfer. We'll see if he actually stays here or if he is sold. I think we'll ultimately probably keep him and just upgrade the position. And then Josef Brezovic, we brought him in on loan because we just needed someone else, so we just needed a body. He gets good training here, but really, fee was terrible. This should have never been done. Our transfers out. Odogu goes out for 30 million. Cubo Figueroa goes to Mantua. It's not Mantigua. Maybe it is. Keenan Ellender goes to Salzburg for 25 million. Chris Richards, 64k to Rangers. Kwiatkowski went to 10 million to Capitoline. Pulisic went to Galatasaray. I think this one was a free, so we just got his salary off the roster. Oliver Perez also goes to Gal for 7 million. Hulajaj goes to Stoke for 6.5. Weston McKinney leaves to Fehrbach. That was free as well, just trying to lessen the payroll. Verdani, 30 mil to Ghent. Zaire Emery, Zaire Emery. That goes to West Brom for 10 million. Stankovic Barnsley to 8 for 8K. There's nothing crazy. Pinheiro to Eintracht Frankfurt. I mean, this was a free transfer. We probably should have got money for this, but it happens. Livio Rios to Eintracht Frankfurt for 2.4. Horning, 27 million at the winner, going to Newcastle. Sulo getting Berdini for $1 million. Mike Lloyd to Crystal Palace. I believe this was a loan. Well, no, it had a percentage fee. Okay, so we'll see how that goes. Steve Thompson to Nextcala. Benso to Bournemouth. Nothing crazy down here. Let me go into Crystal Palace for this. For 725,000. It's actually a good one. Our loans out. Top 3 did great. Centervik for Sporting CP. We'll see if he actually gets bought. Pavel for Dundee United did actually pretty good for him. Either we loan him out again or he ends up being a guy that stays up at the top tier for us. Frankly, it's looking like we'll probably loan him out after the preseason. Although Maselli, he's going to be a actual sub for us up top. We might loan him later on depending on who we bring in, but as of right now, he's going to be one of our main subs up top. Tom Wilson to York. I think this one was also a transfer, possibly. Yolson's going to be our keeper going into next season. He is ready. I think he is going to be an absolute monster. Rodrigo Perez over to Mines. That wasn't for a fee. Salinas got us a small fee, but I think we can get a better fee next season. Paulo will likely be sold after he goes to Cologne. I don't think Cologne's going to exercise anything there, so we'll have to sell him. Hector Hornios, we could have got a fee from Dundee United, but we just wanted him to play somewhere. Nunez to Luton. This was one we just wanted him to play somewhere because he wasn't getting anything here, so we'll likely loan him out. Nolan Edwards went over to York. We're just trying to get his value up. And Yoverton went out to, I think he's at Lazio right now, or he's joining Lazio. That was 10 million, so this is not exactly right. It's 10 million. So yeah, there's that. Okay, so how this kind of went out is, well, you got Champions League football, finished 4th, finished 6 points over United. So kind of rounded out. Newcastle won the table, 85 points. Pretty comfortable with them by 7 points over Man City. Then it's Liverpool and us at 4th, United at 5th. Arsenal drags himself around like 12-13 with about 10 games left in the season, all the way up to 6th. We also have a Champions League game to kind of see that. Aston Villa pulled in on 7th, so we'll kind of see how that ultimately goes. I think it's because Aston Villa has still a cup game to do. They have the FA Cup final with Tottenham that they haven't clinched, and I think the FA Cup, we might have some things to change here. I don't think anyone's still in the Europa League right now. I could be wrong with that. Europa League, Villarreal and Ajax, so that's not there. And I think the conference, Leipzig and Real Españoles. So nothing for England there, which means no one will be getting an extra spot. It all comes down to the FA Cup match with that one. One thing to note on this is we actually matched our attendance out at home. So that was good. And our objective was a mid-table finish, and we are in the top 7. FA Cup, stop by Arsenal. I mean, we should have had something more there, but boards please. It was an average thing. We actually had the home attendance good. In the Carabao Cup, Being bounced out by Tottenham. We were just not competitive in that Tottenham game, to be honest. But we got a B. So there's that. So the biggest win, 5-0 over Tranmere. Master, that was on an episode, so not going to look at that. This one, the match to remember, a 2-0 over West Ham. Goal of the season was Cepeda from 43rd minute, 23 yards out. Let's see. Let's see this goal. This is a 2-1. Not that one. Maybe this one in the 42nd minute. So Arda's dribbling it up. Goes through. Cepeda just arcs it around the keeper. What a shot. We're going to have to look at that from a different angle. I want to see this from like behind the goal. I want to see how much he actually curves this around. So Henderson plays it up. Jones is going to lose it. Cepeda actually intercepts it. Arda makes the run. Cepeda comes back inside. Let's see how. Yeah, that is a great curve around the keeper. There's nothing he can do about that. Nothing. That's when Cepeda got on the horse and started scoring goals for us, and that was a 2-1 win over Wolves, which has actually helped us. So nationally, still recognized. We'll see how Europe goes. We might boost that up to continental with a 4-star. We'll kind of see. Worldwide is going to take us another half-star because we'll see. So club rep hasn't changed. New sponsorships, nothing crazy this year. Sponsorships relatively about the same. Broadcast revenue, it's going to go up and down, so that's relatively the same. Corporate hospitality, we actually about 5 million less, which is not massive. It's 5 million. Yes, it's not bad, but competition money kind of counters these last two and kind of fills all of these gaps for the most part. I think because that's 10, another 5, that's another 5. Actually, this one's not accounted for. Next day, commercial retail. I mean, about 13 less. For our merchandise, 3.2 million. Domestic sales or non-domestic sales accounted about 2.2 of this total. So we need to get these up. Jerseys being sold are up. It's Arda, Ender, Kukulia, Cepeda, and Caputo. I think we might end up having a star come in, and that might change a little bit. So this is how we kind of played this year, and I felt pretty confident in how we did it. Rafael Leao up top was just amazing, and the thing is, we're gonna make some changes, I think, throughout this. I'm thinking about also bringing in another midfielder, another older midfielder that can play that position better than our man there of Carlos Alberto. So we did get the English Premier Division head coach for August. So that was good. Fans player of the season was Ender, and the young player of the season was him. The sign of the season was him. Goal of the season, we saw that was Cepeda. Top goal scorers, Ender with 20. Most assists, Ender with 15. You kind of get the gist here. Most man of the matches was Cepeda with 6. Highest average rating was Ender with 7.2. Competition awards, Fabian Cepeda got the English Players Young Player of the Year. So he ended up winning that. And most assists by a player in a season, will Ender with 15 is the record holder for us. An ultimately successful season for Wrexham started superbly and set them up for perfectly for what was to follow. And once Wrexham got rolling early in the season, they never looked back. I felt like our start to the season was pretty good. That's what it came down to with that. So the supporter profile, we went up by about 789,000. We passed the 2 million threshold like that. Just like that, goes up, and we have a bunch of supporters waiting for season tickets. So we need to play more defensively solid. We need to play a little bit more direct. But we'll kind of see, and just avoid relegation from the Premier League. Club vision. We had a couple new ones in this one. So play counter-attacking soccer. I think we had that one last season, but it's possible we didn't. Play entertaining. Yeah, play defensively solid. We had that one last year. So work within the payroll budget. You didn't know our payroll budget has been increased by about 20 million. So we have 20 million to spend, which we will likely spend it pretty early, probably. And then increase commercial revenue. So this one, increase the club's commercial revenue by signing and using players who bring a merchandising boost. So Rafael Leao would qualify as a guy like that. They just want us to be competitive in the Champions League. Remember, we are going straight to the league stage, so no qualifying games that we have to do. We will get that Champions League money, I think, when that phase starts, or we might get it at the beginning of the season when the Champions League starts. But I think ultimately that's dished out during the league phase. They want us another mid-table Premier League finish by the end of next season, and then the end of the following season, so next season, work towards being recognized as the best of the rest. So what this means is, best of the rest is make sure the team becomes recognized as the best of the rest outside the Premier League's division's top 8 within the stated time frame. So we need to be a consistent top 8 finish within the next couple of years, and then work towards Europa League qualification and that sort of thing consistently 4 years down the line. We're going to accept that because I have no real issues. Plans for next season. Top half finish. Okay. Good account of ourselves. We're not going to make any other promises. Reynolds doesn't like that, but you're being sold, my guy, so not really worried about it. So training camp destination, we are going to go to we could go to Germany and play all the German teams. There's that. We could go to the US and play all the US teams though. Do we have anyone that is from China? Does it make sense to do that? No. We don't have anyone from the US in here. So let's go to Germany. Let's go to Germany. China would give us this. Let's go to the US. Okay, so we're gonna go a couple of times. There's gonna be some offers that we're gonna see. So Parthenope does want Henderson, and so we are definitely going to look at this. See what we can do. You're not part of my plans here. Okay, let's see what offer they end up giving Henderson. I think he could possibly take that one. But here's the stadium expansion. We're expanding it all the way up to the max, it looks like. Club improvements. They want to improve the youth level. I love the idea. You're already doing it for me, management. Wow. Okay. So we're back up. I think we were already up here before. Okay. For our youth facilities, though, are we increasing those? This youth level. We might ask. Okay. I mean, that works for us. So let's kind of go through some of the tactics, like how we're going to be playing this. So right now I have this set up where Caputo is going to be up top. Leao, if we can sign him, he's going to be on the left. Ender will be on the right. Canalita will be the box to box. Arda will be in the AP. Carlos Alberto will be the DM. Curly will be on the left. Aldo Rodriguez on the right. Thiago and Selkic in the middle, and then Ilson as the keeper. This is how it stands. I'll give you an idea of what we're going to do. Giovanelli, we have signed him. He's going to be a sub. Montanez and Cepeda. It's my subs there. Aldo Marcel will be one. We have 2 holes here for the attacking midfield. Marine Valente, Gianluca Salvatore, Gabbia, and Levin Verde will be our defensive subs. So that kind of goes from left to right. So Valente, Salvatore, Gabbia, and Levin Verde. Rollins will be the backup here. That's why we're selling Dean Henderson. He is 36, so time to move on from that. Then Anamala is going to come in, and I typically use these last 4 subs as guys that are intriguing on the team that I do want to give some preseason time to, but they're not going to be like mainstay starters. So Manamala, Eduardo, Diana, Pavel will be up here, and then Darren Simmons, who is still only 17, he's going to get some look. We're not going to be pulling in Alexis McAllister. I think at this point we're going to see Brahim Diaz go out. I don't think we're going to see Brendan Johnson as well. So let us put these 2 down at the under 21s. Yeah, I think that's pretty much it from there. Now, the idea, what I'm looking for, clean this up a little bit, is we're looking at a couple of guys in here. So I haven't went through the scouting center yet. I'm going to, but this is the guys we're looking at. So we have a possible big midfielder we can bring in with Pascal Deschamps. The Belgian is 25 years old. He is 5'9", but the man is an absolute monster. And this could be a guy that we could play up top where Arda is. And we can have Arda flip over maybe the box to box. But this man looks like he can be an absolute monster. So we're kind of looking at him. Look at a couple of other guys that we might be able to get in if we sell some. But, I mean, those 2 are going to be massively difficult to get. Guilherme, we're not going to be able to get him at this point, which kind of sucks. We try to. Wisdom Amory from Man City. He is wanted by PSG, and I don't think paying that much for him is like a smart thing to do. Yao Matthias. Now, at 26 years old, being a defender, we might be able to pull a guy like him in, the fullback, but I mean, at 57, I mean, 57 to 66, that's going to cost a lot of money. Marco here, he's not for sale, but yeah, not going to be able to do that. So here's Endrick. I think this is the Endrick because he starts out at SEP, which I think is where he typically starts out. So we could go the Endrick route. Keyword is could. So there's that. But that's still 49 million. Ibrahima Kanate, I don't think we're going to be able to pull him in. It's going to be interesting, though. At 33, we could, and this is the guy we're looking at that could play a defensive midfielder. Now, if we could pull him in, we change the game. We change the game for us in the midfield, and that would be the guy that would take over. Kind of looking through, there's a couple other guys that we could use, but they wouldn't start for us. So we're just looking at guys that could be something that we can bring in just to kind of hold. I'm not sure why this guy is actually that much. I think that's outrageous. Kind of going through, there's a couple of guys that are 19. So Pedro Batista, I just think he's at probably his max at this point. And I don't think I'd be able to sell them higher. So there's that. I saw Eder here, and while he is loan listed, surplus of requirements, I just don't think bringing him in is a smart thing. I'm also using this to kind of go through and clean this out. We had a couple of guys, Leonardo Giordano. I mean, he's not bad at 19 for that much money, and him not being a starter here would be probably detrimental to us. I don't see Kubitz being that good, but we'll see if he's released. Granville, same thing. Now, Zoran here, he's worth a lot, but I don't see PSG keeping him long term, but it's possible. The one that is definitely what we're going to be trying to go for is what's that? Akaki? Oh, let's call him Akaki. Even though he's 5'7" and he's a shorter side playing in the midfield, this man looks an absolute monster, and I think we can get him for that much from Zenit. So we're going to try to get him. We have a couple of Chinese players here. Chen Cheng, we might bring in and sell later, and Matthias Rodriguez, who's 18, could be one as well that we can bring in and maybe develop and sell, but that's kind of looking likely that's not going to happen. So those are the ones that we're kind of looking at the defaults. Now the superstars, we're kind of scouting everyone because I want to see exactly what we could be in for the guys that are expiring. It's just Rodri, who's retiring, and Pedro Porro that is already there. Our expiring contracts, what we're looking at, probably the best Rye from United might be out there that we can go ahead and buy. There's not much here. Antonio Moreza, maybe a reserve guy. There's not a lot here. The one and only guy that kind of brought my eye was Ibrahima Konate. There's a couple of guys in here that have re-signed that I don't see them kind of changing teams or anything like that. England released, not much here, but we tend to not see much in the first place. Loans, haven't really seen much on loan wise. We had a couple of maybes, but the biggest thing is, well, the maybes are players that we're probably not going to bring in for any upgrades. I mean, they don't really give us anything. I've been looking through the relegated teams, and there's a couple of guys that would be cool to bring in. Kinlan would be one that'd be great to bring in. He looks like an absolute monster. We also looked at Joseph here, which would be great to bring in up top. I mean, this man would be an absolute monster up here for us. So that would be good. There's a couple other ones that we kind of recognize here. Dane Scarlett, who we sold to Fulham. So I feel like we have some abilities to upgrade some guys. And I would really love to see Finland on the team with that, him being that fast. When we're looking at the team for us, Ender is going to be solidifying himself up here at one side, and I can see Leao solidifying himself on the other. Caputo is a 3, well, he can go up to 4.5. I think he's at around his max. The biggest thing though with Caputo is that finishing is fantastic at 19. His heading is good even though he doesn't have great jumping reach. But his decisions, determination, flair, off the ball, composure. I mean, that's why he actually does pretty well up top and has 46 goals and 88 appearances for us. So before he went down, he had 8 goals and 13 appearances, 2 assists in Premier League play. The man just looked absolutely fantastic for us. So, I mean, if we bring in someone else, it's definitely going to be maybe a defender in here. We might do a little change. Midfield. If we make that change, we move Canalita back to the deep line playmaker, and we have the extra midfielder here. And I would love to bring in, say, if Cepeda's right here, Cepeda will get in a bit better. Montanez is trained here, so it turns in the issue of who's trained here and who's not. Ultimately, that's what it comes down to in that. So let's look at that right quick. Looking at the registration, we can't look at the registration portion. Let's look at it by this. So we have to go here, homegrown status. So what do we have? We need what? 4 trained at the club and 8 in nation. So here's 2. We're likely gonna have to have Simmons up here. We need Montanez. We're gonna have 1 more trained at the club for Valente, so we just need 1 more, and that's the biggest thing. We don't have 1 more, so that means we're gonna have to use someone else. The under 21s. Maybe this is up in the air. We're gonna have to find one that's trained at the club, or just select someone random. Slaven Verde is not gonna be there until the following year, so that kind of sucks. But at Nation, I think we'll be fine because we have a couple here. Say Rollins is trained in Nation, so he'll have that already squared away. And then we have 3 right here. Nope. We're only gonna have Rollins. Raheem Diaz is gonna be out. Okay, we also need to look at that whole thing. So we probably need 2 that are trained in Nation. That would mean that Paul Kinlan would be a good add. And Ken Endrick? Nope. Endrick doesn't have it. I think with Kinlaw we should be good. The Netherlands. So it means we have to actually pull him in. Okay. or we just have to register a couple random players. That's fine. So this is what we have. Looking at it right now, that we're going to be trying to bring in. So let's see if we can put a couple of these guys out. All right, so I'm gonna put a cut here, and we're gonna go up. There is an international day, so we're gonna go all the way to the international day, which I think is before any of the transfer window openings, and we'll kind of go through what we have there. All right, so we've made some changes, and you can see a couple of new players in here. So Yulson we brought back from Crystal Palace. He's going to be our starter. Henderson did actually leave to Leicester City. I'm switching out Selçuk Okul to Salvatore, and why I am doing that is the comparison at this point. Looking at where is he? There he is. It's now in Salvatore's actual clutches here. Now we could do some things that, if we have injuries, that Salvatore can move to the left or the right, that sort of thing. So if we have any injuries, that'll be one thing there. And then Okul kind of plugs in. But I don't think Okul had the biggest year last year. I don't think. Like, let's see. Milestones. He was in the best 11, seasonal best 11. So no personal awards that were massive in that. And I think the Reigns need to go Salvatore with a lot of these traits, especially bravery and his physicality, his natural fitness. I think he's going to actually be a good piece there. We brought in Tomaso Probega from Chelsea. We did not actually pay too much, 15 million for a guy of his caliber, so nothing crazy with that. And he's going to be our DM. He can also take long shots, so I think he is also going to take I have him as the fact that he can take shots, so we'll see how he does. I think he's consistent anticipation, versatility. I mean, I like what he's going to give us for a year or so. It means Kennedy doesn't have to drop back. He's going to be still the box to box and Arda. We did bring in Leao. He is permanently on the club here. He's going to be playing as attacking mid on the left side, and we'll see what he can do if he can press in. We're going to have him play as, I think, an inside forward. Ender is the other forward there. That means Cepeda is going to be our number one sub up top. We brought in Aki. So we'll see what he can do. He's 5'7". He's going to be our midfield sub. He can play a little bit of defensive mid if we need him to. A little bit up top if we need him to. I think he's going to be a good player. We brought him in. Although it was 21.5, I don't think, I think that's worth it. I think he's going to be worth a lot more than 21. That means Carlos Alberto's on as the defensive mid sub with Probega. Those two will pretty much switch out a ton. Scrolling down, we haven't sold a lot of these extra guys. Brahim Diaz is going to be out. His contract expires, so that's one thing we don't have to worry about. And we'll see if Lavaro can be sent out. So there is that as well. We have a bid from Ipswich for 7.75. I don't think he's going to be actually attractive. We might actually have to put a couple of these guys out on loan, recoup some money, because we're over by about 6 million. which is fine because we have so much. Even though this transfer budget isn't much, we'll have 50 million in the bank. So there is that. We're not really hurting for anything in particular. Looking for the guys that we're looking at, Christopher Agier, we want to bring him in off a free. He doesn't have a contract extension from Inter, I don't believe. He actually does, but we'll see if they let him go. I think they end up letting him go. He's towards the tail end of his career. We just want someone that could play on the right side if we need to, someone in the middle, and another guy that can play that midfield position if we need him to. So those are the ones I'm looking at. The ones that have transferred out already at this point is just Dean Henderson for 300k to Leicester City. So we still have our keepers. We're not going to have a lot of stuff out. We're still actually in good in our transfers out. We have 145 million transferred out, 129 million transferred in. We have a pretty good balance with that. It also means we are likely going to send a good portion of guys out more. So I feel like we're set pretty well now. It hasn't ticked over to the next year. I stopped because there's a friendly, and also I want to give you guys the opportunity to look at some of the players I'm looking at. Again, remind you, this is 2033, so if you suggest a player that is in his 25s at this point, they've likely retired. So we're looking at players that are around that are currently in the game, so real world players. Hendrick is 26 at this point, so he starts 16 or 17 in the initial save. So all those guys that are around there are still available. Guys like Cody Gakpo are entering their last part of the career, so we're looking at guys that are younger than him because he is 34 to give you like a little bit of an age range. Sailmakers, which is another guy, is about 25, 26. He's 33. For some of the youngsters on, say, the mid-tier that are on teams, there's one. There's one. I think we put him in expiring contracts. He was on... He starts on United. He was on one of the relegation teams. Here's where all the superstars are, so to give you an idea as well. So Kai Havertz is 33. Vlahovic is 33. Raspadori is 33. Moore is 35. So this give you the range of, if you suggest someone, Wisdom Emery is 27. This should give you an idea of a lot of these. He's not in there either. I think I saw him in another list. So like, should give you the idea of what we're looking at, what we're working with. If you suggest anyone, I'm going to allow this to stew over the weekend and allow you guys to have a crack at if there's anyone you've seen in this list going through this episode, that sort of thing. On the commentary, if there's anyone in particular that we're looking at. Now, mind you, we could probably bring a couple of people in on loan. So there's that. So we do have room for that. When it comes to actually buying players, I think we're at the extent. I don't think we're going to have enough money for that. But I could swindle it if you guys suggest someone that's really good and cheaper on the idea and be able to go through. A lot of these players are D, but we put them on with the with the list. So I think we'll be pretty set in this. Let's see the preview. The preview is probably still the same as last season. So this is how it kind of showed up. We were slated 10th and we did much better. The FA Cup portion I did not show you. Tottenham won the FA Cup, so Norwich does not have that 8th spot, and Tottenham is going to have Europa League. And Aston Villa pops down to Europa Conference League instead of having Europa League. So that's interesting from there. So we'll kind of see what we're going to be rolling into. I don't think we have the money from the Champions League portion yet. I think. Where's the prize money? Yeah, we don't. It's just the Premier League. So we'll get that prize money next season. And then we'll kind of see how everything's going. But last season we had a good, the income was 367 million and we only spent 343 million. I like that. I like that idea. So I'm gonna wrap it up here. Not gonna ramble anymore for you guys. So leave those down in the comments below. I'll give you the weekend to kind of go through that, and then we will finish up the transfer and that sort of thing. I do have a international game to do, so there's that. But other from there, I mean, we're in the next season. I have some of the key players that I intended to bring. So from that, yeah. Thanks for hanging out. Go leave a like below, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you guys next time. Later.